Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Oceanus. Vessel rescuing is a complex and tiring procedure. Recovering a damaged ship with souls on board requires extreme efforts from the rescue team and salvaging company. When a large ship is in distress or has sunk, the first step in the recovery process is conducting an immediate assessment and developing a rescue plan.
Every job, you have a portion of luck that you need.
Saving the lives on board is the prime task of any operation. The recovery of the ship involves the procedure of refloating, towing, and repairs. Experts consider factors like the potential for oil or chemical leaks from the ship, the marine ecosystem, and sensitive habitats. They work with environmental agencies to ensure compliance with regulations. Based on the gathered information, the salvage team develops a detailed recovery blueprint. This plan outlines the step-by-step procedures for lifting the ship, minimizing risks, and ensuring the safety of the salvage crew. The salvage team identifies potential hazards and implements measures to protect the crew, divers, and equipment. This may involve using specialized gear, establishing safe zones, and following strict protocols. Salvage operations start with deploying remotely operated vehicles, or ROVs, to the shipwreck site. These high-tech underwater robots are equipped with cameras, lights, and various sensors that allow salvage teams to explore the sunken ship from every angle. They provide real-time visuals and data that help experts assess the ship's condition and orientation. Salvage teams can examine the extent of damage, corrosion, and deterioration that may have occurred while the ship was underwater. This information is essential for determining the feasibility of recovery and the appropriate lifting methods to use. One of the most critical aspects of ship recovery is finding suitable rigging points. These are specific areas on the ship where cables and rigging gear can be attached to distribute the lifting forces evenly. In some cases, the shipwreck site might be cluttered with debris or obstructions that could impede the recovery process. Every piece of data collected by the ROVs is meticulously analyzed by experts on shore. Once the surveying phase is complete and all necessary data has been gathered, the salvage team can move on to the next steps of the recovery process. One common method involves utilizing floating cranes, often known as shear legs or heavy lift vessels. These cranes are specially designed to handle immense weights of over 15,000 tons and are positioned above the shipwreck. They are equipped with heavy-duty cables, winches, and pulley systems capable of generating enormous lifting force. The crane's cables are attached to selected lifting points on the ship. The winches then slowly and carefully apply tension, evenly distributing the load. This gradual application of force prevents sudden jerks or shifts that could further damage the ship. Another technique involves using chain slings or wire rope slings. These strong, flexible, and corrosion-resistant materials are wrapped around the ship's hull or other sturdy parts. The slings are then connected to lifting equipment like cranes or winches. In some cases, particularly when dealing with sunken vessels in shallow waters, caissons and cofferdams are employed. These are essentially large, watertight structures placed around the shipwreck. The water within the enclosure is then pumped out, creating a dry working environment. This dry space allows the salvage team to assess the ship's interior and external surfaces for repairs and rigging without the challenges of working underwater. Some massive ship lifting also involves a technique called buoyancy extraction. By using air and water displacement, the salvage team reduces the ship's overall weight and helps it rise to the surface. This might involve filling certain compartments with air or using specialized airbags that can be inflated strategically. Once the ship is successfully raised from the depths of the ocean, a critical process of ensuring its secure transportation to a designated location begins. Depending on the ship's condition, stabilization measures may be necessary to prevent further shifting or damage during transportation. Specialized equipment such as ballast control systems may be used to maintain the ship's balance and minimize any rocking or rolling movements. Transporting a recovered ship involves one of two methods: either towing it using powerful tugboats or floating it using its natural buoyancy. The choice of method depends on the ship's size, condition, and the distance it needs to be transported. Tugboats use carefully coordinated maneuvers to guide the ship safely through the water. Upon reaching a designated facility, such as a dry dock or repair yard, the ship is carefully maneuvered into position. Dry docks are particularly useful for large-scale repairs and inspections, as they allow the ship to be placed in a controlled environment where water can be pumped out to expose the hull and keel. Before inspection teams begin assessing the ship's hull, machinery, and equipment for any signs of damage or deterioration, the ship's fuel tanks are emptied to avoid any fires or explosions. Inspection is a crucial step to determine the extent of repairs needed. Unfortunately, most of the time the ship is beyond repair because of corrosion due to salt water and damage to engine and hull components. On September 8th of 2019, a misjudgment in assessing the MV Golden Ray resulted in the vessel capsizing. The ship was transporting 4,100 cars and had 24 crew members on board. The car carrier, measuring 660 feet in length, overturned during its departure from the port of Brunswick en route to the port of Baltimore. The inability to accurately gauge the vessel's stability resulted in it running aground at a 90-degree angle. As the pilot door on the port side and two watertight doors were unsealed, the vessel began to take in water immediately after it submerged. The situation escalated when a fire broke out aboard the ship. Once the distress signal was received by the authorities, Teams of firefighters and expert responders swiftly arrived via both maritime and aerial routes, working diligently to extinguish the flames and safely evacuate all 24 crew members. The combination of fire, flooding, and saltwater corrosion resulted in the ship being deemed a complete loss, with an estimated value of $62.5 million. Additionally, approximately $142 million worth of cargo was also lost as a result. The plan to salvage the wreck included cutting it into 8 huge pieces, each weighing up to 4,500 tons. A crane lifted these pieces out of the water and put them into barges, which carried them to the shore to be taken apart. This task was done multiple times because there were still some cars inside the pieces. They had to take off some weight from these sections one by one. After working really hard for almost 2 years, the salvage operation was finally finished in October of 2021. The MV Golden Ray wreck removal was the largest recovery operation in U.S. history. Shipwreck removal is a complex, time-consuming, and risky operation, but it is essential. It is estimated that about 8 billion liters of oil is still present in the ships underwater. This may cause an immensely negative effect on the environment if leaked due to corrosion of external metals holding it in place. That's a topic for another time. You can watch our next video here. We'll see you there.